Welcome back to Inside Politics. Our guest today, House Speaker Beth Harwell. The legislature is about to begin in January, and she's been renominated by the Republican supermajority to serve a fourth two-year term as Speaker of the House. Speaker Harwell, it seemed to me that there was not much of a positive mood in this last election. You do a lot of campaigning door to door. You see a lot of people. Was this the sort of the sourest mood you've seen in the country? Certainly far from being bipartisan in any way.
Yeah, I think so. I think number one, the election lasted too long. I think the public is tired of these races that last for 2 years, and that's exactly what we just need to counteract that. And plus that, it was just not a lot of talk about policy, but rather personal attacks, and that's not the Tennessee way. Now,
we had a situation where it appears a lot of this rancor is continuing into the transition period. We have a particular appointment by President-elect Trump that have Steve Bannon, who's been involved with the Breitbart, the alt-right group, a media site that he did. He's had some controversy about his remarks about Jews, women's, minorities. Both sides are calling in some ways for the Vice President, the President-elect, to rescind that particular appointment. What are your thoughts? Is Steve Bannon an appropriate person to be in the White House?
I don't feel like I can comment on that. I'm not going to ask President-elect Trump. I think we need to give him, as Hillary Clinton said, the grace to lead this nation. And I think we need to step back and let him do what he thinks is best.
You had a little bit of a problem this summer going out campaigning. I mean, you actually go door to door, literally,
yes,
and people have dogs. You got bit.
I did get bit.
And that's happened before, but not quite like this.
Not as bad as this one. This was a bite on my finger and my hip, and this is a pretty ferocious dog.
Now, you said, I assume in jest, that you hoped you'd still get the vote for that particular. Do you know, did that person vote for you?
You know what? They weren't even home, so I don't know whether I got that vote or not.
But you may be back again in 2 years.
But yeah, I will tell you, nothing takes the place of going to someone's door and standing right in front of them and asking for their vote and listening to what they have to say.
Now, I have found for people that are elected in office, when they're candidates the first time, they can make a lot of houses all at one time. But when they're in the office itself, the people won't let you off the front porch. They have lots of things they want to talk to you about. Is that right?
Yeah, well, you know, it is, but I find that refreshing. I actually like that. I like to talk to a constituent to their face rather than going through these slick brochures and all this other stuff. I like to actually talk to a person.
Well, I don't know if anybody talked to you about this, but I know the governor wants to talk to the legislature, it appears, this year about raising the gas tax. What's the mood of your members? That tax has not been increased for a long time. Tennessee prides itself on the quality of its roads, but the money only goes so far.
Right.
Are they in a mood to increase that tax?
You know, I don't know. I haven't polled my members yet. I have not actually talked to the governor about what his proposal would be. I do think we have infrastructure needs in this state. We do in this entire nation. It's going to be interesting how much money that the president-elect, Donald Trump, will be put toward infrastructure. It is a need for our businesses. It's our need for our state. And I'll tell you, honestly, more than our roads, I'm very concerned about the utility infrastructure of our nation. What's in the pipes across the state, they're, you know, some of them are over 100 years old. We really need to look at that.
You have mentioned that the Trump administration may be pushing more and more programs and monies down to the state to handle things rather than handling it on the federal level. Outside of infrastructure, what else are you thinking may be the situation they do?
I definitely think healthcare will be one. I think you will see more. I hope that education will be one as well. Most Americans believe that the federal government has overreached and that a lot of the regulations that they have put in place are unnecessary and they just cost money. And I think if more of those programs were put in block grants and brought down to the states, I think the domestic programs would be more efficiently and effectively run.
Now, last session, after the failure of the Governor's Insure Tennessee program to expand the Medicaid program in the state, you put together your own Blue Ribbon Task Force to study the issue of legislators. Right. They came back and made recommendations that I believe are before federal officials to look at for a way for Tennessee to begin to do that sort of expansion. Given what's happened and the fact that President-elect says he's going to repeal Obamacare and replace it, although he doesn't say with what at this point, what the work that you've done, that group, has it been wasted? Is it going to have to go back and retinker with it?
Absolutely not. I think we have really the groundwork, and we're ahead of most other states. If in fact we do get a block grant, we have the foundation of what that block grant would look like in Tennessee. So I've asked that committee to continue to work, and I feel very positive about what they've come up with.
So at this particular point, going back to the gas tax, there's been some talk that the current way the gas tax is assessed on a per gallon basis as you buy your gas doesn't really grow very well anymore because people have much more fuel-efficient cars. If the governor comes down with a plan, is it something you and your members are going to look at if it's perhaps changed so that it has a chance to continue to grow in the future and not just sort of stagnate the way it has the last few years?
Again, I can't comment on it because I haven't seen what the governor is going to propose, but certainly transportation in this country is changing. I mean, I really believe we will see a next generation that a car ownership is not a big deal to them. I mean, literally, my children that are in college, they Uber everywhere they want to go. That's just, they don't even think about that. And I really think that's the wave of the future. So we've got to really look at how we fund our infrastructure needs as a nation.
Beth Harwell is our guest. She's the Speaker of the House of the Tennessee State of Representatives, about to be renominated and probably re-elected for a fourth two-year term. Back to continue our conversation with her after you watch these messages.